Hey, so what is it that's making people no longer want to understand? They would rather understand, they'd rather overstand, but no one wants to understand anymore. Because we've had this idea that we've been under too many things, under too many rules, too many laws, too many paradigms, too many systems, too many everything. So people no longer want to be under anything. So they don't want to understand anymore. And that is a problem that we're having because of this thing called knowledge. When we had the knowledge of good and evil, what we got is the knowledge of good and evil. And now we have so much knowledge that we don't even want to understand anymore. We just want, we just desire. We just don't want to understand, want to overstand. So, having this knowledge is having this power. But when you read the word in in the in the scriptures, it says that in all you're getting, get understanding, right? In all you're getting, just get wisdom. There is no method to getting wisdom. Wisdom is just something that you just get. You just get wisdom. It's just garden, so you just get it. So in all of your getting, you have to get understanding. So getting understanding is more important than getting knowledge, which is what we got. Because with knowledge, you only have something that you can use in that moment. But with understanding, you have something that even if you can't apply it in that moment, you still have its understanding. So you still have the substance of it. So understanding is actually under and stance. Under means sub, and stance means to stand. So understanding is actually grasping the substance of something. So it's more important to understand than to overstand, because when you have the substance of something, it means that you have the foundation of it. You have the foundational principles that constitute what it is that you're looking at. So with understanding, what you have is substantiation. So when you're able to substantiate what you see, this is true understanding. So when you say that when all of you're getting, get understanding, it means that in all of your getting, understand or substantiate what you have in your knowledge. So this is why you have to get understanding or substantiation. This is how you refine your thoughts. This is how you refine your mind. And this is how you really purify this knowledge and wisdom, which is likened to gold, which has to be refined. Or else you just have this ore. So what you have to do, like knowledge and wisdom, is just like mining for silver and gold. Because you have to dig deep and go into the crevices of the earth, go into the bowels of the mother earth in order to find this dirt. Then you have to scrub all of this dirt off it. You're actually going to uncover more dirt than actual gold, right? But then after you uncover this gold, then you remove it from the dirt. This is how you discern it, right? You remove it from the dirt, and then now you have gold, or now you have wisdom and understanding. So this is how you substantiate. This is how you purify. This is substantial. So this is essential to your essence, to substantiate, so that you can have the purity of heart and mind. So yeah, I just hope that you can take it a day at a time, and whatever it is, like, just find something to be grateful for. Because when you realize that Babylon must fall, Babylon must burn, Babylon burns, because what we have from the understanding of the Most High is that the truth is going to be revealed in the last days, and his righteous ones are going to be the ones who live forever and who inherit the earth, which is to have the understanding of Zion, which is heaven come on earth. This is Havilah. This is heaven on earth. So to have the understanding of Zion is to have the understanding of heaven on earth, which is when there is no more wars, no more seas, no more disease, right? So no more crying, no more weeping, no more pain. So this is a different paradigm. So this is a paradigm that we actually had in the beginning. So the first is the last. The Alpha is the Omega. It's the same person. I am the Alpha and the Omega. So the revelation is actually in the garden. So what is happening in the Omega is happening in the Alpha. This is the Om. This is the sound. This is the word that creates everything. This is the universe. This is the vibration of the universe. How everything is in motion. How they're saying that we're being held by gravity. This is the Alpha and Omega. The Aum. The Omega. The Alpha. And this is all electricity. Right? The amps. The ohms. So everything happening in Revelation took place in the garden. So what was happening is that in Havilah, this is when heaven was on earth. This is when the breath of God was really on earth. And what happened is that these people actually had their own paradigm. So a paradigm shift is when you have a different state of awareness within a second. Like, it's like when people are moving beyond the speed of light. It is just like when the father of lights, the father is speed, like when something happens so fast that it happens instantaneously, spontaneously, something that happens without even happening. This is called a paradigm shift. This is something that already is but isn't, or already is and is but isn't realized. This is how we have a paradigm shift, when your mind just shifts from knowing to not knowing, or not knowing to knowing. This is when God says, let there be light. This is when you have light in your mind, right? This is actually having a paradigm shift, because when light was introduced, it had to be separated from the darkness. So when he said, let there be light, what he actually says is that let there be light, and then he separates the light from the darkness. So he creates two paradigms, or he creates the paradigm of this pair of dimes. So this is how Adam and Eve create their own paradigm. The world is actually built as a paradigm, as for two people. So this paradigm is Zion on earth. This paradigm is heaven on earth. This paradigm is Havilah. This paradigm is natural splendor. This paradigm is paradise. Paradise is a paradox. In paradise, like how Adam and Eve were living, they were living in this state that was such a paradox. How Adam and Eve used to live was a paradox, because they were perfect, right? So through their perfection, imperfection came. If they were so perfect, then they wouldn't have had imperfection. So this is the first paradox. So paradise is a paradox. Like, this is the most beautiful place, right? And then there's this serpent who is the most evil thing. This is another paradox. Paradise is a paradox. So this serpent was put there. Was it before or after it fell? Or did it fall because of this? Or was this is a paradox. So paradise is a paradox. And understanding paradise is going into the parallel realm, which is to understand the mind of God, which is to have heaven on earth. This is the understanding of the revelation. What is being revealed to these people is regarded to these people who have the sight, which is the humility, which is having the understanding of God on earth, which is knowing that you and everyone else are created and put into this world. So when God created this garden, he put a person into the place, and then this person was put, and this person was fruitful, and he multiplied. And this is how we understand it, because this is the person who was put. This is the person who was put in the garden to be fruitful and to multiply. And through this, we have what we call this life, and it came through this paradise. So when the first pair was in this paradigm, it meant that they were just living life monotone, because there was nothing that could deter them from their perfection and state of mind, because everything they were doing was just perfect. Like, they would just think like, alright, like they would actually live like how all of the days are created. The first day, there is the knowledge, right? And then let there be light, and separate the light from the darkness. The second day, there is the splitting of the waters, heaven and earth. And then the third day, there's the land and the sea. And then, so every day, what they actually used to do is to live out everything. To first of all think, to consider the heavens, to consider the earth, to look at everything, to look at the trees, to look at the animals, to look at Eve, to take a nap, to actually breathe, to have this poetry, like Adam and Eve. Like when Adam woke up, he broke into a poem. This is actually how they used to live. This is a typical day in the garden, right? So this is how they actually used to have this splendor, that they lived in this harmony, in this balance, that every day they were actually recreating the world and actually taking care of the world. This is how God put them to have dominion, to recreate the world, to have dominion over it, so to dominate over it, which means recreate the world, work on this garden, till the land, do whatever you want, take dominion over this garden. So every day they're just thinking of, alright, so on the fifth day God created the fish and the birds. So on the fifth hour of some days, like every time they're actually going through all of these days within the day, because it's a fractal, and they're actually reacting to this. So they're thinking of the fish, they're thinking of the birds, and this is how they're actually living in this algorithm. And this was their paradigm until there was a shift in their paradigm. This is how they left. This is how they fell from this paradigm, because this was still in the same place at the same time, but now it was happening in a way that is parallel, like a paradox. So this paradox is what we have in this current world, that because of the sin that was put in the garden, that is being revealed in the revelation, because of that sin that is generating every sin, because this is the genesis of everything. This is the generation, the genesis. This is how this seed has generated all throughout this whole life, that this is the genesis and this is the revelation. What is the fruit? So the fruit that is through this paradise, through this paradigm, we have everything that came to be from the first to the last, because through this we have the paradox. So everything that is happening is actually happening in this paradise, right? So they're living in this algorithm, which is natural, which is peaceful, blissful, which is just balanced. And then through this we have this paradox. There's so many paradoxes in this whole thing. So the whole thing that is being alluded to is the fact that everything that is generating from this garden is actually what is germinating in this life, in this planet. So this is the plant and the planet according to the plan. Okay, so when you have the understanding that the seed is what is the gene, the gene is the seed, which is the genesis, which is what is in the planet, which is in Mother Earth. So this seed is actually the Mother Earth. This is the plan. This is the planet. This is the plant. So this plant is actually like the one that came out of the soil, and then God gave it breath. This breath is actually how the plants give us breath. So this is the plan, or the plant. This is how everything is planned, as the seed, because God says the life thereof will be inside of it. So he says that this is my plan. The life is going to be inside of it. I'm going to put the life inside of the thing. So understanding the land of put, understanding where put was put is interesting. It's very interesting. So through this, right, so what we have is that this whole thing is just this paradox. God knew everything that was going to happen, and then in the very beginning he let it happen, and then everything is happening. It's a paradox. So this is how you need faith in order to decode this, in order to understand this, because faith is this currency that you use in the realms of the spirit. This is what it is. To have to tread the courts of God is to have faith in your heart and in your mind. This is why it's only revealed to people who are really seeking for this truth. To have the understanding of what it is in the realms of God is to have faith. This is what it is. And through this faith, this is how you can actually tread with God, to trade with God, to exchange with God. This is how you have the judgment of God, the mind of God, which is actually what we wanted in the first place when we ate from the tree of knowledge. So this is what we got. But this is what we don't even have, because my people perish from a lack of knowledge, even though they ate the knowledge. Isn't that a paradox? So this paradox is what we still have in this world. That because the gene that generates everything in the garden generated this in the plant, in the planet, and this is how the plan is now working. That everything is now a paradox. This is how, when God speaks to Isaiah, he's telling them, hey, go tell my people that there's a paradox that I put. Please go tell them that they're going to see and they're not going to see. They're going to hear and they're not going to hear. They're not going to even perceive. There's a paradox. Please go tell them there's a paradox in the paradise, because it's a parallel. So he's in the parallel and he can see it because he put the paradox. So this is the plan in the planet. This is what the plant did. So this paradox is what we're actually living in, this parallel realm, that we're not in the heavens, we're on earth as it is in heaven, bringing heaven to earth. This is the idea of Zion, understanding this paradox and speaking the truth within it. This is why we need the right words. This is why we need the right words. This is why the word, the tongue, the mouth is a sword, so that we can actually slice the bone and the marrow through this tendons, through this heart, through these arteries, these veins, and these nerves of Babylon, because through this babbling, we're not actually getting through to the paradox. This is why the, the mouth of God, the revealed mouth of God, when he slaughters everyone who is opposing the holy city of Zion. When he slaughters everyone, his revelation is that his mouth is a sword, is a tongue, a flaming sword. So this is what we need. We need to have this spirit of discernment to decide. This is what we are calling understanding, to substantiate, to have the spirit of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. This is to have this tongue that is sharp, that slices. So this is to have this ability to see beyond this paradox, to see that this is the parallel, and to know the truth from the fiction, to know reality and the facts, right? To understand the truth. So this is the parallel that we were given, and this is the thing that happened in paradise. This is the thing that is happening in everything that has a paradox. So if there's a paradox in your life, like, hey, I'm working, that's my plan, right? And then I'm supposed to be like a tree planted by streams of living water. I'm the plant. But where is the fruit? Am I not working according to the plan? If you have this type of paradox, it's time for you to discern your words, and for you to use this word, this sword, this weaponry, this technology, in order to cut through what you're saying to yourself, so that you can discern the paradise from the parallel in your own paradigm, so that you can shift it immediately. Because when you have a paradigm shift, it happens like that. It's just immediate. So when you have this ability to split things, it means that you're able to understand what is happening within the substance. So this is how you substantiate. If you have a paradox in your life, what you need to do is to understand. Okay? Therefore, you will gain the ability to overstand and understand in everything by first of all grasping the foundation, by first of all grasping the foundation of life on earth, the planet, the plant, the plan, which is found within the motherland. That is the planet. That is the plant. That is the plan. So when we're talking about these seeds in the garden, when God is saying your seed and his seed, we're talking about the plant, because the seed is in the plant thereof. This is how God planned it in this planet. So understanding is getting the substance. Is getting the substance, the nectar of something. This is the substance of it, the nectar of life. This is the water. Where did water come from? In the beginning, God is just there, hovers over the water. Who created the water? Where does the water come from? Okay? This is understanding the nectar of life, the water, the streams of living water. In the Revelation, the holy city has no sea. Has no sea. So there is no that water that was just hovering over the whole spot. There is no chaotic water. There is none. But what we have is the fountain, the streams of living water that everyone who drinks will never thirst. So this is understanding the substance, the nectar of life, the water. Okay, the water. Which is where the beasts come from, right? The water. Because even in the flood, they weren't killed. They were still there in the water. So what we're drinking is actually the water. So understand this. This is the substance. This is understanding. This is what we have to do. What we are standing under. This is the ground, right? We are the ground. This is understanding. Humility. We are what we're standing. We are our understanding. We are who we are. This is our understanding. This is why we're slaughtered when we don't have understanding of who we are. Okay? Because we are the substance in this ground. We are this thing that is put in the earth. We are what was put as the seed. We are the seed. So this is why it's important to understand that there was a certain place in this land, which is the foundation of all life on earth, that had a place that was called the land of Put, the land of Punt. This place is where something special was put, even gold, even crystals. Everything that was put there was good. Okay? The person who was put was put into a pit. So this is understanding that when you're reading the story of Joseph, what you're actually reading about is the story of Egypt. Because this is the person who was put into a pit after he told his brothers about how he was going to be manifest as this person according to the plans of God. Okay? And then the brothers were jealous. Okay? And then they put him in a pit. and then through this he went and became a king in Egypt. So this is symbolic of what it actually is alluding to, that this person was going through all of this in order to be the king in the Egypt. And what these people are telling us is that whoever is writing the Bible is telling us that all of these people who are the sons of Israel were the kings in Egypt while things were still good before the Pharaoh came who was oppressing the people in the mind. This is why they had to leave Egypt, even though these were the same people. These were the same people that were put there. So these were the same people who came from these pits. These people coming from these pits. These people coming from these prisons. This is what Jesus is coming to do, to set the captives free, to let them actually come and reign on earth as kings. These people who were put in pits and prisons, okay, they were put in this earth so that they could be the kings who reign, however they were. So through this we have the understanding of this being the kings in Egypt. And through this, Joseph's life is actually called, is actually given this name by the Egyptian Pharaoh. That means the one to whom secrets are revealed. Because throughout his whole life, secrets are just being revealed to him. He's able to see through dreams. He's able to see and interpret dreams. And this is what it actually means, that the one who has secrets revealed to him. So even in Egypt, this is what he was having, secrets revealed to him. This is what his life is all about. And this is the person who is called a person who was reigning in Egypt. These are the people who came from the pits. These are the people who were reigning in this world. And these were the people who were there ruling in righteousness and in justice and injustice, right? They were doing the right thing. They were governing well. So all of these people had this understanding that they used to put and that they used to have in this world. And this is what is exemplified in their understanding of what we now call this doctrine of Christianity. Whatever it is, everything that we believe in is something that is basic to the foundations of this world that was put in heaven on earth as an understanding of that reality has God within it. We are synchronized with God. We are in tune with God. We have the same algorithm, go rhythm, flow rhythm. This is how we used to live. This is how they used to live. This is how it was put in the world. And this is what was being revealed to people who had this understanding to go to Egypt. Because like, if you realize the fact that Abraham risked his life to go to Egypt. He risked his life to go to Egypt. Like this is when he told them to tell he told them that Sarah is his sister, which she actually is, but this is like he was actually risking his life because they could have killed him, right? So this is something that you have to understand, that there was something special that was put into this whole continent. There was something special that happened, and through this there was a lie that was certain that was certain to mislead the people, because this whole place was chosen to be the paradise. But then there was a paradox. Isn't it a paradox that Joseph ruled in Egypt as a governor, as a king, but then all of a sudden God is saying that, hey, I hate Egypt. That's a paradox. So you have to understand and reconcile these paradoxes, because this is what paradise happened. This is where paradise happened, and this is what was happening within paradise. That something was put, and everything that was put has to have a seed, that has to have a fruit, because this is the plant, this is the planet, and this is the plan. This is how everything happens. So when something is in a paradox, you just have to open your eyes and see what the paradigm is and live in the true paradigm.